Hey everybody, welcome to Digital Adventure Radio.
Where we have a good friend, Hoops and Hip Hop, with us.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to be here.
And we're here to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
I like stuff.
So just recently we had Hoops and Hip Hop over here with us talking about being a full-time YouTuber and the transition, especially for us, where we've only been going for, 9 months now?
Yeah, short time compared to this veteran.
Yeah, you guys are basically in the pregnant stage right now, where you've been going for 9 months, but you're not quite official yet, so...
We're just about to blow. We're ripe. Ripe and ready to go.
Ooh.
But there's no turning back, once you're that far.
Once you're birthed, you can't go back in. Like, you just got to roll with it.
So we started talking about a couple things like, if you could do it again, what would you change? And what have you learned, like, coming this far compared to where we are now? And halfway through our conversation, we're like, okay, this would make a really good podcast. So we're like, okay, let's stop it here. We're going to pick it up in a couple days. We get everything set up, and here we are now. So I guess first let's just kick off, and let's start off with what got you into being a YouTuber? Like, what inspired you? What made you want to join up, and or major influences?
Well, kind of like a process for me, because it wasn't really until basically my last year of high school that I started getting into the video side of YouTube, I guess. But towards that kind of back half of my senior year, I started to get into it to the point where I was like, I might look into this for like college degree or something like that. And then right around that same time, in my personal time, was when I started watching YouTube, and I started learning that this was something that people were doing for their jobs.
Started learning you could actually like make a living doing
yeah
this.
And when I thought of
Dream job.
yeah. And this was kind of like, for me personally, I went for like Pokemon videos, Nintendo videos, just because I was wanting to just relive nostalgia. And in my mind, when I put two and two together that people were making a living making videos about Pokemon, just the novelty of that, I was just like, how is this even possible? And it's like it's not even something crazy, or people are doing this like in their basements.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
just
Literally.
in most cases.
literally. So it just kind of fascinated me. It blew my mind. It appealed to my interests. And after just a couple weeks, I was like, I got to do this. This is what I want to do.
Well, hold on. Didn't you say that you didn't even have internet at home for a long time?
Yeah. So it wasn't until my senior year of high school that my family got internet, because my mom and my dad both aren't tech savvy people, so they don't know what they're doing on the computer. And then my mom, being a mom, didn't want us to find bad stuff on the internet. So really the only reason we got it was because we were about to enter college, and we had to like sign up for colleges and like apply and stuff. So she kind of broke down. And so basically my personal experience with YouTube leading up to the point that I started my channel lasted like a couple months.
Oh,
Like
really?
I did not have
Yeah.
that like lifelong like exposure, I guess, to it,
Yeah.
because obviously in school you don't get the chance to do that
Yeah,
unless
like,
you
think
know
about that.
unless you know the secret code to like get past the firewall, because that was the thing.
It's all
But still, like most of us, we were still watching YouTube, and we were like affiliated with it for a while.
Yeah.
You just like
Yeah.
going out the gates, like all of a sudden you're like, oh my
Right.
gosh.
Yeah, like it
What is
wasn't
this?
it wasn't like a new thing. Obviously I knew what it was, but I didn't really get a chance until then to just plop myself on the couch and just search through whatever I could find.
It's crazy to me that like being exposed to it that fast, you decide to jump right in. Because like we watched YouTube forever, and like it never once dawned on me like, oh, I could do this.
Dude, he's ahead of the curve, like
Yeah.
100%. Like,
Yeah,
what the
it
freak?
took a while, and then I was like thinking about it. I was like, man, I'm going to work every day. I'm like, God, all I want to do is just watch YouTube. And then also we got a camera. I'm like, all I want to do is make videos. I was like, oh crap, why don't we just merge the two? Just turn it into work.
Right.
It
Yeah.
took me like a year to do that.
Coy sees at one time. He's like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of, I mean, it was a little bit of a fate sort of thing where I just knew it was the right thing for me. But like I said, it was kind of a slow buildup, where it originally started as back during my sophomore year of high school, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. So somehow, some way, I got into the TV broadcasting class in my sophomore year, and that was only supposed to be for juniors and seniors. So I have no idea how I got into that class, but it was really good I did.
Fate.
Because that's really when I started getting into this stuff. And I remember I would film basketball games, football games, do that kind of stuff. And just as I kind of went through that class, because I took it every year, I enjoyed it so much, I started kind of really applying it to my own personal interests instead of just what we were doing for school. Like I really started getting into the music side of things and just thinking about how cool it'd be to make my own music, and it just really kind of snowballed from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, compared to us, ours was, pretty recent. We've always kind of, I think, dabbled in it, but like compared to your story, ours was just like, as a group of friends, we're just like, we do so many different things that I feel like could appeal to the audience. Like, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of joked about it at random times. Like every time we would just joke about some random story of just around the campfire, like, oh, that's funny. And then it somehow became like, we'd be good at a YouTube channel. It was always kind of like a joke for a long time. And then we're like, maybe we should.
Or like we'd be out box racing down the hill in front of our house. We get box and like put them on a longboard. Yeah. And it's a heck of a steep hill just burning down, and all the neighbors would come out and watch us do it. And we're like, okay, there's some entertainment value here, obviously.
We're onto something. Yeah. Like, let's roll with it.
So let's get a camera and just take care of it. Oh, before you skip past it, he brought over a hat for us to throw up on our wall.
Not just any hat.
Wall. Yes.
It's a Pokemon hat.
Oh, yeah. And never even worn. I figured it was the perfect thing because on my channel and like in the community that I'm in on YouTube, I'm always the guy that's known as like the guy with the hat. Like I always have people ask me like, take off your hat, I want to see what you look like without a hat. So Pokemon hat just seemed like perfect.
I actually asked Cody when you were coming over for the first time the other day, we saw you wearing the same hat, right? And I was like, I wonder if he's gonna wear the hat, and lo and behold, you came with it. I was like, oh nice,
of course. Yeah,
oh geez, sticking with it.
Yeah, this is literally the hat I wear every day. It's funny because I have a lot of hats and I seem to just kind of cycle through them, but this has been my favorite for a long time. So
I stick with hats most of the time, but I got a haircut today and I'm not too thrilled.
You look fresh. I was saving that for the podcast.
I'm like medium fade, and he's like, okay. We started talking, and like the conversation kept going, and the fade kept going higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, I need to cut this off right now, or I'm gonna be bald by the time I leave this place.
Yeah.
So if you could go back to the first time when you were starting YouTube, if you could just jump in a time machine, jump right back right now, and talk to yourself and be like, hey, I know what you're about to do. So I got some wicked knowledge to drop on you. I'm going to help you out a lot.
You put that pencil down.
Yeah. What would you tell your future self in preparation for getting ready for where you are now? Or just streamline the process?
Mm-hmm. That is honestly a very tough question, because even though my beginnings on YouTube were in no small sense of the word a train wreck, in terms of what I was doing and how little I knew, it's hard to say like whether or not I would legitimately change it, because I feel like my personal upbringing on YouTube, like I'm proud of the way it happened, even though it was really rough in the beginning and I just didn't know what I was doing. Like you guys were saying, you guys had the chance to watch and think about it. I just kind of jumped in and went for it, didn't think about like all this preparation. And
in some sense though, it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
We've learned like a lot of preparation can sometimes just hinder you more than help you.
Definitely.
Right. Sometimes you just have to jump in head first and like make the mistakes to learn what you need from there.
Yeah. So that part of it I feel really proud of. So I don't necessarily know that I would change that, but there is a definite advantage to preparing, knowing what you're going into. I would say the best thing that would be the greatest advantage to me looking back on it in terms of just growing my channel would be knowing how YouTube works. So kind of just making like effective thumbnails and stuff like that, appealing to the hot topics of the day, kind of just hitting that nerve in people that makes them want to check out your video. Just different little like tricks of the trade like that, I would say, is probably the biggest thing that I would have liked, because
all things that we haven't even had to deal with yet.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's why I'm here. I got you
guys. Thank you.
But yeah, I think a big part, like for me, when I learned something new, like you can watch stuff, people can tell you everything about it, but I learn the most when I actually just sit down and try to do it.
Yeah.
Like hands-on doing everything. That's when I'm like, okay, this is how that works. It was kind of what he said, but you'll never know exactly how it is until you actually just go for it.
Yeah. And so like that kind of playing with that is my biggest regret is that we just didn't start sooner. Like Coy just went for it. So that's just like, just jumping into it. That's the best way to learn. You might be shaky, but look how far away we are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look how just much of a good position you guys have put yourself in. Like I've said it before. I've said it before, not recording. But you guys already have the perfect like setup in terms of your studio, and you've got all your series you want to do and stuff like that. You've got a really good plan, and I can tell you guys are passionate about it because people who are kind of on the fence about this stuff don't buy 4 really expensive microphones and
which
sand this
these
nice
were bought
table
on Amazon 2 days ago in preparation for this.
These guys bought a microphone just so they could have a podcast with me.
Which, by the way, we
dedication.
can't take full credit. Back over behind everything, we got Darren, Randon, Bobus. Get your head up here. Isaac. And our special guest today, we have Robbie and Claire. Thank you so much.
Good friends, good friends.
People listening should feel very unfortunate that they can't see all these beautiful people. They're very attractive.
We saved the best for last. We don't want them to see the beautiful people first and then see us and be like, okay.
True. There's got to be
got
to be a reason for the people to come back.
Yeah.
What do those people look like?
Mystery.
But really, that means a lot coming from a YouTuber that does this full time. So thank you.
Yeah. Seriously, thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. Like going back to my days of just not knowing what I was doing, when I started my YouTube channel, my bedroom at the time, we were kind of my family was in between houses, so I was in this room in this house that didn't even have a proper closet. The closet was like this. It was literally a wardrobe because the house was old and it didn't have a closet built into the wall. So that took up a lot of room in the room. And on top of that, I didn't even own a desk. So I literally was starting my YouTube channel with my laptop on my lap. And I made my first remix that's still on my channel, by the way. I don't recommend you look at it.
No, check it out.
Because
definitely.
Go
it's
right
terrible. But I made it just with my laptop on my lap, just tapping the keys. And looking back on that is just, it's crazy. And the number one thing I have always said I want people to kind of take away from my channel is that if I can do this, you can do anything you want to do. Because if you go look back at what I was doing when I started compared to what I'm doing now, it's like I'm a whole different person. And I can tell you, and you guys can tell the people as well, because we've grown up with each other. I'm not a special type of human being.
He's covering it up. This guy's a big deal, like top notch.
It's crazy you mentioned like progression, like over that starting out on the keyboard, and then jumping up to where you are now. We've watched the same thing because we waited for a while, and within like the last month or so, we started making like burner videos, right? Videos that like nobody would see, just to like get it out of our system, like start learning the ropes, learning the equipment that we got. And from like our first video that we made before we had our camera, we taped a cell phone to one of our light stands and got behind in the studio and did it, and it was just atrocious. It's the cringiest thing ever.
Every time they put it on, I walk out of the room.
It's so bad. We keep it
for
just
only
to
me, because
ourselves.
I'm terrible. The first one, so I know what you mean by just like let's go. That's really how it is until you get used to it and get more comfortable. And, I don't know.
And it seems like every video after that we improve by like 50%. Like not even kidding.
And it's exponential because like we take our entire crew, like we're all in it. So anybody who just like adds to it, it's just like every single episode is just like so much better.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And you learn it a little bit more. You see things from the last time. You're like, okay, definitely. We shouldn't have had the light right there. Like he's 100% yellow.
Yeah. What's up with Pink Man in the back?
It's crazy how fast it comes up. But just watching, like you said, just diving in and actually going for it and making the mistakes. Make a few burner videos. That helped us a ton. And this is obviously not for you, but for anybody else who's listening and curious. Make some burner videos
before you start.
Yeah. Because my goodness, if our first video was out there in circulation right now, I would be under a rock. I would hate it.
But to your point though, that's really, I think, the reason why I personally just jumped in, because I remember when I decided what I wanted to do and I was kind of in the process of doing it, I went and looked at people that I looked up to that kind of inspired me, that I went into their channel and saw the amazing things they were doing, and just sort of for some internal validation, I would scroll back through their channel and like look at their old stuff on purpose, just to kind of see if they were like always this good, or if they were just like, or if they were terrible at the beginning, because I wanted that I wanted that sense of proof that it got better. And for the most part, I never found that, because people are smart and they kind of just put their best foot forward and don't let anyone see the bad stuff. Like
we've
you were
seen
saying.
a couple of them. We saw GMM. We went clear back to their beginning ones. It was a huge inspiration for us. But their beginning videos was just crazy. But we just got the notification from our crew, 25 minutes. We got to take a short break.
That's a break.
We'll be right back in.
Yes.
All right, and we're back. Sorry for the abrupt break. We can only film for 30 minutes at a time, and if we miss that, we'll just chop everything up, and it will be ridiculous. So
we're weaklings.
We're back. Where were we? We were talking about GMM and their first videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the days of Chia Lincoln.
It's so weird.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Speaking about that, I don't like thinking of anybody doing anything who's randomly super good right when they start doing anything. Nobody. So it's like,
except for us.
Except for you guys.
Okay. Well, I was leading into that.
Besides us.
But that's kind of what I was going to get into before we stopped, is that's the big illusion of YouTube that I feel like I wish wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was saying, I was looking for validation that it gets better as like a content creator, and I didn't find that. And it was only like my kind of personal belief that kept me going. And sometimes like things get bad and you realize you suck, and sometimes you don't want to keep going. So if I had to like pick one thing about YouTube that I could just like wipe away, it would be that like stigma that you're instantly good, or you have to be instantly good. Like it's okay to suck at something. Like you're never going to be good right off the bat.
Okay, to make those mistakes.
Jesse.
And just progress.
Unless you're like Darren over here.
Yeah.
He's naturally talented at
just look at that jawline.
Wow. Yeah, it's tricky. He makes fun of me because I'm the one who's like, no, none of this goes anywhere yet. We have to wait a little bit.
But you know, I think there's a good balance, because he pushes the crew on being very like professional, which is good. But we also have other members that, you know, clash. So I think we find a good fine line.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's like a great equilibrium, just balancing each other out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's good about you. You only argue with yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's 8 of us or something.
Yeah, right. And it's not a bad thing to look at your work and be like, no, that's not good enough. I don't want to post that. But like you were saying, it's a fine line where in the beginning, when you're still getting your feet wet, you should kind of just don't be afraid to be naive enough to just roll with it. Just jump in.
You know, fake it till you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Basically.
And ultimately, like, even the channels that you go back and watch all the time, it's not because most of the time the quality of their stuff, it's either their personality or their content.
Yeah.
So like sometimes their videos aren't as good as you'd want them to be, or you're not as interested, but you still watch it because just you're like, I know this guy, he's just doing what he does, you know?
Yeah. And you know, I think you get better at the cringy moments, you know.
Yeah.
You'll work out of that.
Yeah, pull through the cringe.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I don't really feel like I got to a spot where I was completely comfortable like recording myself or doing content, or comfortable with what I was putting out looking back on it now, until I was probably like 3 or so years in, because my channel started as like a music channel, so I did nothing but music. But then a couple of years in, I decided I want to do videos too, and so I got into the video editing side of things. And I felt like just through watching people and the video editing experience I had, I was good enough to jump in right off the bat. So I felt confident at the time. But looking back on it now, I watch those videos and I'm just like, why does this have 200,000 views? Why did anyone watch this? I'm just like baffled.
The right time, the right place. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you'll miss those spots if you don't put anything out.
Yeah.
You'll miss out that wave. Didn't you say you went to school for a little bit for like edit or audio, something in the audio?
Yeah. So basically my college career and YouTube started at the same time. So about a semester after I got into college, when I decided I wanted to do YouTube, I decided this was kind of the thing I wanted to pursue in school. So I majored in digital media ended up graduating with a degree in audio production. But I, throughout my degree, learned video editing and kind of just the whole little bit of everything.
That is freaking awesome. So you're going to help us edit all this stuff up once we're done, right?
Yeah, if you pay me like $50 an hour. Just kidding.
We learned on YouTube University. That's where we learned everything. We learned all of our equipment, watching everybody else's tutorial videos and like recommended equipment videos. And
right. And that's even though I kind of went to school for it, that's not to say I learned everything I know in school. I was telling you guys last time that as far as my music stuff goes, I learned some useful things, but about 90% of what I know, I taught myself. And other than a few kind of really nice tricks that I learned in school, I use basically what I use like in terms of my knowledge and stuff is all the stuff I taught myself. So
it's all just fixing problems, it seems like.
Right.
When something doesn't go right, you jump right on the internet and start figuring it out.
Yeah.
That's when you learn the most, trying to put things back together. So if you could decide, well, not necessarily decide, if you could have your channel go any way you wanted it to, like if you could have it grow to any point, what would you hope it grew to? Where would you hope it went to? And what would you hope that you could change in the future or adapt to?
Do you mean just like in terms of like number like of followers or
followers, growth? Like how would you expand it? The whole kit and caboodle. Sky's the limit.
Like you're gonna be, at YouTube Studios with your own place. You got these multiple rooms to film in. Like,
speaking of which, how does YouTube Studios even work? Do they once you hit a spot?
I actually went to the one in LA back in June, and it basically, I believe you have to have 10,000 subscribers to like gain access to it, but once you hit that threshold, you're basically able to go there to record if you need a good place to record.
So it's just like an open area for anyone to use type deal?
I mean, it is, but you also, obviously they have like a front desk, like you have to make time for it and stuff, but like it's there for people to use. It's not just like an exclusive, like you have to have 1 million subscribers to even walk in the door type of thing.
How many did you say you had to have?
I think it's only 10,000.
Wow.
Which realistically is not that much.
No, that's pretty incredible.
10,000.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah. We got one.
Like 7. That's crazy. They just give you a space to go and do that. That would be nice.
Yeah, but as far as like my ideal situation, I would say in terms of what I do, because I do right now all Pokemon content. That's kind of what I became known for, so that's what I rolled with. If I had my ideal situation, I would probably like a channel where I could talk about just video games as a whole and just talk about whatever interested me, because those are the first types of videos I gravitated towards, were kind of just video game facts, trivia, like theories, just interesting stuff like that, behind the scenes sort of things. But with YouTube, it's kind of hard to be like a variety type of channel in the gaming space. People want to see what they want to see. They're very secular, and it's kind of hard to break through with multiple different topics. So that's one thing I would like to do. And then I would like to have my music kind of be on par with my videos in terms of the like exposure they get, because I am known in the community for making remixes. I'm fortunate enough to kind of be one of those people that people think of when they think of Pokemon remixes. But I originally started doing videos to kind of get my music a little more exposure, and even though that did help, it didn't, like, they're not even. Like, my videos took off way more than my music has, even though my music has been pretty successful.
Do you put your music to your videos? Do you use them?
I do, but not all the time. Like, I'm not that self-centered that I only use my own stuff.
Well, sometimes it's easier too to just go and find something already made and just drag and drop.
Right, yeah. But then other times I'll be making a video and it's nice to have my own music because I don't have to go and like credit someone else for it. I'm just like, mine.
Yeah, it's nice. That's what we have. Our buddy DJ I'm Not Your Dad Kid Isaac.
Wah, wah, wah.
He's back there making our music for us, and he has come a long ways, and he's got some great stuff. He's out on SoundCloud now if you want to check him out.
Amen.
I can vouch. It was good stuff.
It's legit.
He's back there sweating bullets.
Yeah, he's nervous.
The one question I had is, if YouTube never existed, like, where do you think you would be, or what would you be doing?
That's a good one.
And would you be happy? You know?
I have no idea how to answer that, because there was basically my life before YouTube and my life after YouTube. My life before YouTube consisted of my school career, and after YouTube, literally I would say like 60 to 75% of my time is dedicated to YouTube. It's like that's what my life has been ever since I decided to get into this, because I knew it would take a long time. I knew it would take a lot of effort. It was my passion, so it's what I wanted to do. So I've sunk so much time into it. I can't really think of what I would have done with my time had that not been a thing.
You could have been like a pro bowler.
Realistically, I probably would have kept going with basketball, because basketball was kind of like my first big interest. Played in high school and stuff like that.
Is that how you met Randon, by the way?
That's not how we met, but we played on the same team.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really funny that like most of these people I knew have known since elementary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how that
Yeah, a little backstory.
goes down.
He lives in Payson.
West
We all
Mountain,
live in
actually,
Payson.
right?
Yeah, West
Yeah,
Mountain.
it's the Payson one, the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's close
But-
enough.
Yeah.
And so we all went to school together. I'm a little bit older, so I never saw them. But now here we are, 10 years later?
Yeah, I was saying right before I left, I was like, how funny is it that 20 years later, like, who would have thought we'd be making a podcast together?
Yeah,
I threw out that number 20.
weird.
I threw out 20 years as just a throwaway, just kind of for an example.
No, you can check him on that.
and
Yeah.
and I thought about it after the fact. I was like, it's not 20, but it is 15, and I
That's
was like,
nuts.
that's just insane how the time flies.
That is,
Yeah.
it is definitely weird. You do not think like that would have happened, you know?
Oh.
No.
Like just thinking about this right now, it's like, whoa,
Yeah, with how
I
much
did
work
not
we
see that
did
coming.
just today, I wouldn't have expected we'd be here at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that had to happen. I'm like, we're never gonna make it. Coy's gonna be here at 8:30. Nothing's gonna be in place, and it ended up going through, which is freaking awesome.
Definitely.
Well, it was funny because I got lunch with Jake Jensen. You know him?
Yeah, yeah.
We catch up every now and then. But I was telling him about what we're trying to do, and he's like, "Oh, Coy's doing that," and I was like, "That's the last thing I expected Coy to be doing, but that's cool." So when we started getting into it, and then I stalked you on Facebook, and I saw your
Best
post.
ever.
I was afraid.
I saw your post about your YouTube channel. I was like, he's doing pretty good. So I talked to these guys, and I was like, maybe I'll hit him up and see if he wants to like come hang out and talk to us about it. And sure enough, here you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected myself to do it either. Just kind of something that ended up happening.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't, like you were saying, like it wasn't the thing I did back when we were going to school until really late.
Mm.
So I just kind of got into it once I started growing, I guess.
Which is like it's kind of a weird thing to bring up to people, like saying this is what you do for your job. Like,
It's very uncomfortable.
yeah.
Even in today's world where people are more understanding of like the entertainment factor on the internet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're still like, so what are you trying to do in your part time? Like, YouTube.
Yeah, it's really weird because even now that I'm kind of doing it full time, and I mean, so far I've been decently successful at it. Like, I'm very proud of that. Like, that's really cool that I get to say that, but I still find myself kind of being uncomfortable when I go to tell people that, because it's like, are they gonna take me seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's really kind of a weird
But
stigma.
how nice is it to talk to somebody else who's doing the same thing?
Yeah.
And you can be like excited and nerdy about it, like, "Oh, we got this new thing,"
Yeah,
like blow
definitely.
up. Where anyone else you tell them, like, they just have no clue.
It depends on the person. Some people are so stoked and they want to know, like, where can I see it? That's so cool. And some people are like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't
You get that
why don't you
vibe?
go to school or something, boy?
I just film with my friends in my basement.
We have some fun.
We're having some fun. But no, I totally agree. It's really nice to have someone to talk to about it. I was actually kind of looking forward to coming here and chatting with you guys throughout the day today. So hopefully this isn't the last time I'll be back here.
oh, absolutely.
no.
As
Yeah.
long as the hat's on the wall and it will be there for eternity. You are welcome back.
It just falls off.
He's so perfect.
I'll just leave now.
No, man, thanks again for coming out and talking with us. Like I
Definitely.
said, we had no clue what to expect. Well, me especially, because I never knew you, but it's been a ton of help talking to somebody who's had experience in it.
Yeah.
So for anybody at home who wants to do it, just start. It's going to be scary. It's going to be expensive at some parts. It's going to be stressful. But my gosh, is it worth it? It is so much fun.
And I think that brings up another good topic, is the community.
Oh, yeah.
Getting involved with the community. I think you could maybe help out on that subject a little bit more.
Yeah, so community is a big part of YouTube. You want to get yourself into a community, whatever it is you do, whether it's podcasts, whether it's gaming, whether it's like short skits like you guys want to do. Find people who do what you do and make friends with them, because not only in YouTube but just in life in general, it's good obviously to know people. People can get you far if you know the right person. So, and it makes it a lot funner. It's for a little while I wouldn't say I was alone on YouTube, but I was doing stuff without knowing anyone, and it was kind of just, I literally had no one to talk to about it, because I couldn't really talk with real life friends about it because it was kind of out of their wheelhouse of interests, and I didn't have anyone online to talk about because I didn't know anyone. So it just made it a lot more enjoyable, but then it was super essential in me getting to where I am today, because it's essentially like a big web of like literally YouTube is this web. Like they talk about the World Wide Web. YouTube is a web. You start at the middle, and your goal is basically to get as far outside of the web as possible. And the way you do that, the way you get to each kind of new rung, a really good and easy way to do that is to collaborate with people, talk to people, get on their channels, like swap ideas, just get yourself out there as much as possible, because the farther you're out there, the wider reach you have, the more people can see you, and the faster you'll grow.
More influence. Didn't you say you went to one of the YouTube conventions recently?
Oh, yeah. I went to PAX East in Boston.
Dude, how was that? Is it like a whole... Is it the same as it is here, where everyone's just as excited to share about it? Or is there kind of like a complex between YouTubers, you know?
Okay, I will say this. It was a blast. I only got to go for one day because I got my ticket kind of late, so the convention part of it was I went to the last day. But it was a blast. However, with that being said, I can't say if this is like the same thing for every YouTube community, but I got a sense of like high school clique type of feel.
No
Like there are people, I mean, they're some of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. And I think it's one of the biggest blessings of doing this that I can say I have friends kind of all over the world. Like I know people in the UK, I know people from Scotland, I know people from all over the US, and that's really, really cool. But just like in any situation in life, you're going to run into people on YouTube who think they are the hottest piece of crap, and they'll let you know about it, and they'll try and make you feel bad about yourself because they think they're better than you. And it reminded me a lot of high school when I was like getting this vibe, and it sucked because
it just takes
it's
away
like,
from the experience.
it's like, are we like still 15?
Yeah.
What's going on here? But I mean, I don't want that to like scare people, because
I guess it's to be expected, because like you'll find those people at your work, you find those people anywhere, just on the streets.
Yeah.
I guess it's just
right.
the
And
mix and the match.
I think
if everyone was the same, it'd be boring, right? So those people
Right.
keep it exciting.
And one more thing just to kind of finish that off, not to brag about myself, because that's the last thing I want to do, but
do it, man.
When people will, it's the classic saying, people will find a way to hate on you as you grow bigger, because they just want to do what you're doing, and they'll find a way to just bag on you. And I can say that that's happened to me, not like huge amount, because like I said, 95% of the people are lovely, but like that does happen. You just got to kind of work through it and just not pay any attention to it.
That's awesome. Well, we just got the notification. We are out of time again. Wow, that went fast.
Good.
Time flies when you're
Yeah.
having a blast.
But thanks again, you guys. Be sure to check out Hoops and Hip Hop. Tell them where you're at, man.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is just Hoops and Hip Hop, just all one word. I do lots of Pokemon content, music, videos, that type of thing. I'm also, if you want to check out my music, I'm on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, all those things. So you can find me there too. And I'm on
Dopest.
Twitter, Instagram, that stuff.
Dopest dope you ever heard.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you next time.